Good morning.
Good morning.
We are now being videotaped.
That's wonderful.
And I want to tell you what a privilege it is to be with you. I've spent 10 days with your people, and I've come away with an incredible respect for BRAC and what you have done. I mean, it is so amazing to see all of your programs and to know that you run the largest NGO in the world.
I congratulate you. I thank you for taking interest in BRAC. It is wonderful to see somebody from the United States of America coming in and taking such an intense look at BRAC, taking interest in the poverty in Bangladesh and how we are tackling it. So I'm impressed with your concerns.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I've now had the privilege of spending 10 days with Grameen. I've had the privilege of spending 10 days with BRAC. And I know also of Asaf, which is a third, and between the three of you, I guess you represent 80% of all of the microcredit in the world.
Indeed, indeed.
And I thought to myself, I'd like to know a little bit about Asaf, and I thought I didn't have time. When I got on the bus in Rampur and returned, I sat next to the program director of Asaf.
Okay.
And we talked a lot about the Grameen model, about the BRAC model, and about the ASA model, and we compared them, and there's significant differences.
Right.
And each of you are incredibly successful, incredibly successful. And my question of you is, here you have three different organizations with three different approaches that are all very successful. So my question is, what is the commonality? What is it about the three of you that is in common that is so successful and is serving the poor so very well?
Well, the commonality is basically the microfinance program. All three of us run large microfinance program. But Grameen and ASA are probably less holistic than BRAC is. ASA will be more nearer to Grameen in the sense that they are concentrating on microfinance only. And BRAC is probably slightly different in the sense that we have started with a development organization and then came to microfinance at a later stage. And then, so we kept our holistic approach throughout our expansion of microfinance. And microfinance, we think, is an entry point into a village. So you have access to resources, access to finance for poor people, and then you can talk about education and healthcare and social development and legal empowerment and all kinds of things at a later stage. So you start with microfinance, but then microfinance is not all the answers to problems of the poor.
Yes.
They also need education, they also need healthcare,
and that's where BRAC is so unique. So unique.
Yes.
Let's focus just on the microfinance part of it. Okay. All three of you are very successful in microfinance.
Right.
Yet, for instance, ASA does not have the group of 5, the solidarity group. They only have groups of 30. And there's differences in how they function. But yet the microcredit part for all three of you is self-sustainable and is operating. So even though there are three different models of microcredit, you're all doing wonderfully well. But you. What is the commonality in microcredit?
The commonality, I suppose, is that we are still, all three of us are working with the poorer half of the population. And poor people organized in villages tend to be more disciplined. And we, all three of us, work with women.
Yes.
This is a common thing. And all three of us work in a kind of, in a very similar way in the sense that a credit is given for a year and it's recovered through installments. So there are some commonalities in our models, and all three works quite well.
Yes.
And happily, this all three happens to be in Bangladesh.
Oh, it's so fantastic. I've shared with you my interest in Rwanda and my friends and so on. What advice would you have for me in wanting to help in Rwanda and connect with BRAC in Rwanda?
Well, I personally think that poor people everywhere have the same kind of needs and dreams and aspirations. So basically, if you go to a rural Rwanda, you find the poor people have got the same kind of aspirations. And we can do similar kind of things in Rwanda with microfinance and holistic approach of development that BRAC has. And I think Africa needed that. Africa didn't have the kind of players in development that we have in Bangladesh today, and also have been very badly governed and led by their own people. So I think the time is ripe for some of us to go into Africa and do something which we have done in our own country.
Well, we very much hope that we will be able to connect with the BRAC people and help make it easy for them to come into the section of Uganda that my friend Dowdy was born and raised in and wants to go back and serve. And it's been just such an incredible time being with BRAC, and what a highlight. At the beginning of my trip, I had the privilege of being with Professor Yunus. At the end of my trip, I have the privilege of being with you. And it's wonderful.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Just punch the little button.